Nobody wants to go sit and do an office job and, that there's no flexibility. I work around my own schedule.
The labor force continues to evolve as freelance and part-time work popularity is on the rise, with just over a third of U.S. workers now partaking in one of the two. But it's not just a means to an end for those out of work. Many workers are gladly leaving full-time jobs for part-time or gig work. Government data released in early June shows 21.8 million Americans work part-time for non-economic reasons. In other words, by choice. The number of people working part-time for economic reasons has declined over the past year. That rise of freelance work isn't new to the pandemic. A survey from Upwork and the Freelancers Union shows a trend upward over the past decade.
We as a society have come to depend on these apps and, to have a labor pool that's available on demand to get us groceries or packages and things like that. So really this gig work is here to stay. These companies are predicated on having their workforce be independent contractors because they're called on-demand companies because you can access the labor on demand whenever you want to. They're in a pool. It's much harder to have that for employees because then you're having to pay for all that unpaid waiting time.
The strong labor market has enabled workers to pursue more flexible work schedules and lifestyles. After employers added more jobs for the spring, the Labor Department reported there were nearly 2 openings for every worker seeking a job.
This is where it's at. Nobody wants to go sit and do an office job and, that there's no flexibility. I work around my own schedule.
Megan Bryant works part-time in addition to teaching as a host for SudShare, an online service that connects households with gig workers able to take on laundry needs. The flexibility of part-time or freelance work is a huge appeal, but historically, there are concerns about the overall security of gig economy jobs, namely with fair pay and a lack of benefits like healthcare.
It's roughly about a 30 to 40% increase to have someone as an employee as opposed to an independent contractor. Because an employee here in the States gets a lot of additional protections, unemployment insurance, workers' comp, access to health insurance.
Some independent contractors may have a more complicated tax system as well, paying an estimated quarterly tax on their income rather than once a year. This confusion can lead to reporting mistakes. And because taxes are not automatically withheld from paychecks as they would be full-time employees, the salaries might look higher at first glance than they actually are. Employers like Amazon Flex and Instacart have been hit with class action lawsuits for withholding pay or lack of pay transparency. In 2022, the city of Washington, D.C. sued the delivery service Shipt for allegedly misclassifying their employees as freelance contractors. This would allow the company to avoid paying benefits, to shift basic costs to the workers, and to avoid paying minimum wage. But there has been some momentum for legislation to protect workers.
I feel, I often feel like some of this legislative action we're having around these types of workers are revisiting policies that were put in place during the New Deal in the 30s.
The Freelancers Union helped pass laws in these cities that allow freelancers to reach out to their municipality for help if they're not getting paid on time. This year, New Jersey and Illinois passed laws making it easier for temporary workers to speak up about dangerous working conditions.
I think unfairly, people often call these laws like Prop 22, AB 5 is the Uber laws, but they're not Uber laws. I mean, they're much bigger legal conversations about where employee protection should lie and what does control look like, and it affects a much bigger swath of workers than just folks who are using their phone, to access a job.
Americans' relationship with the 9-to-5 is changing, and that's only accelerated with the pandemic and rise of remote work. There are pros and cons to part-time jobs or freelancer gigs, but above all, it's clear that the gig economy as we know it seems here to stay. Lauren Magarino, Scripps News.